Welcome. Another edition of the EquinEdge Weekend Preview Show covering all the best stakes racing this weekend. We're going to start tomorrow at Kentucky Downs in race 9 and go all the way through Sunday. Only a lot of great racing at Kentucky
Yeah,
Downs this weekend. That's for sure the focus. Colonial has a good card, and we'll talk a race there. And then we obviously have our good friends at Gulfstream Park and Laurel with some stakes. Oldie Laurel back in action after the Timonium meet.
yeah, no, and no New York racing this weekend.
I know. Is
Yeah,
that weird or what?
yeah, they've been doing that between meets now, where they take like a week off.
Yeah. No, I feel like that's probably a good thing at times. And, I didn't play a lot of Saratoga this summer, Oldie.
Yeah, I closed it out strong with that pick five that you saw. It was a 50-cent pick five. I got lucky; a horse scratched in the leg that the favorite one, and I got it for a buck.
I was wondering, I
Definitely.
saw it. Yeah, congrats. I know that was on closing day on Labor Day on Monday, but yeah, that's cool. I was wondering, I'm like, oh, you played it for $1, but that made sense that you scratched into it. No, that was awesome.
Yeah,
And thanks everybody for always being here. Again, we're going to cover stakes. We'll start tomorrow, Oldie. Let's jump in. We have Kentucky Downs Race 9, the Mint 1 Dreamer Stakes for fillies and mares 3 and up, a mile 70 on the turf.
yeah.
All turf, Oldie, at Kentucky Downs. Always lots of fun. No Mo Candy. Going to be probably the predominant speed.
Which is a good thing on a speed favoring track too.
Yeah. And it's definitely it's a fun track to watch, Oldie, with the various
Yeah.
configurations that they have, whether they're sprinting or going one or two turns. On the race sim, the 7 gives it up at the end. I always tell people I like to go back to the stretch, and that's obvious is another good indicator for me on what might happen. So this horse does give it up, Oldie, at the end on the race sim. But what do you think? You think he'll wire, or you think it's gonna get caught?
I had him wiring here. I thought Nomo Candy just was a little bit sharper than this group. Has been facing better for the most part. You know, gets a gets a very hard, unless it rains, a very hard track that has been favoring horses that are much closer placed to the versus closers here. So, you hit that uphill portion and you're in the lead, you're in good shape. Or if you're in first or second, you're in pretty good shape.
Yeah. Willie, good to see you. Our good buddy Willie, Oldie. He's always crushing the win
Yeah,
bets. I love it. Willie, you always press your opinion, which I love seeing as a better. So, Oldie, I agree. I had no more candy also on top. Top pick. I mean, it's Safi, it's Irad. I'm assuming he's riding. I haven't heard otherwise. I don't know if any
yeah.
Oldie, have you heard?
I heard he was riding. Yes.
Yeah, okay. I assumed he was, but that was I didn't get a chance to watch that spill live, but that was incredible that Zayas did not fall off that horse in that
Yeah.
race, Oldie. And I saw people like Irad in a way when he came back over, he can't pull Zayas to right him on Wide Barrio,
Mhm.
which was that was pretty crazy. But
And he almost made it. He was like
I
two
know, I
inches
know.
from pulling it off.
I know. It was
And
incredible. Like, I mean, the athleticism for what happened and how he ended up over there and to almost get back, Oldie, but at the same time also make sure Zaz didn't fall off, which I appreciated. But and like it was just crazy to see that. I mean, super athletic.
now the question is him coming off the horse with the if he would have gotten back on and the horse won, would it have counted?
I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, I guess it would just be whatever that ruling is. Like, did he impede the progress of the other horse? Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? I have no idea.
Yeah,
Like,
or if he's off the horse though, is the horse automatically DQ'd at that point?
yeah, no, I don't know the rule. Like I have no idea, but I don't. I think she's tough here, Oldie. Getting back, sorry, we
Yeah,
segue. You didn't see that with Irad last. What was that, Monday, Oldie, or Sunday? But incredible when
Monday,
he fell off and ended up being dead.
Sunday,
Yeah, Sunday.
Sunday.
So, but I thought, is dropping out of that Saratoga race only at 8.5 clearly, ended up like rating right off the pace and then kind of backing up versus 78 has shown that she does not need the lead but has tactical speed, which I appreciate here, Oldie. And,
Yeah.
wins the race sim. Or doesn't win the race sim, but's there at the stretch, the five. But I agree with you. I think has a big shot to wire. Where'd you go second?
So in second, I put Grayish, the Chad Brown horse, who has been mostly facing better. Is more of a stalker than a closer. And I thought this horse could win off class here. And you could get a little bit, not a big price, but a little bit of a price here. Um, I thought this was definitely a class play for me. It's a grade 2 winner at 8.5. Um, you know, almost won last time out. At 9 furlongs, cuts back here. I like the cut back. It's just a matter of, is there enough? Will there be enough speed for this horse to get home? I think this horse. I think you have a good chance at a 7-4 exacta here.
I put the 5 second. I do think the 7 gets loose though. That's why, you know what I mean. I'm not. You do have the 2 and 3. I think Saya's riding Buttercream Babe. Yeah, so he probably can be aggressive, but I don't. And then you have both of these. You have Maker and then a Walsh horse, but dude, I don't. I mean, I thought that No Mo Candy might just be the speed of why she wires the field, but you and I definitely. So I didn't use the 400. I had the 5. His second on the race sim, won 2 in a row. Joe Sharp, Hernandez, Jose didn't ride here, which Irad rode and Hernandez rode in the past, but Joe used Jose a lot, but for whatever reason, not here. Jose riding somebody else, I can't remember, but wins the race sim. I think this horse probably has a shot. It's the favorite. I think could sit a good stocking trip. But I like the 7. I mean, I have this horse second. So where'd you go for your third pick?
I went to the 2 Buttercream Babe for Mike and his maker. This horse ran pretty decently last year at Kentucky Downs at 6.5. I think the stretch out here beyond 8 is probably the right thing for the horse.
Yeah.
I think could sit a trip, but is more of a closer and kind of has been disappointing. But I think could get a piece here.
All right. Well, there's our picks for Kentucky Downs Race 9. I think outside of the 7, only for me, it's just the Scotty picks. Like I think the 5 could sit the trip. I think the 3 could sit the trip for Curtis. Long is run here last year at 10.5. And the GSR goes down, but I think this horse fits. It's the long shot, but and then the 8. I mean, this horse is going to be a good price. I mean, it's Roman's Landry, but I didn't. That's why I had it more fourth. But I was 7.538. You're 7.42. So we agree on top, but different opinion underneath.
Yeah, I'll just say about the 8. If you look at the 8's best races, with one exception, they've almost all been pretty close to the lead.
Yeah. No, I mean, it doesn't show. I mean, this horse probably, when you look on the race sim, I mean, that's why I think the 7 said easy fractions, Oldie. I think this race is for the lead and Irad wins. Like, I mean, I would confidently use that horse, but if it doesn't, to me, it's one of the picks. But I like the 7 No Mo Candy a lot here. All right.
You agree?
We agree there. Let's keep going. We're gonna go to this is the only race tomorrow. Only stakes race tomorrow. So it's a little bit of action tomorrow. Only one race, stakes race, the Mint one, 500,000. We're gonna then go to 5th. Yes.
So,
Friday
so
the 5th,
yep.
um, race 7. And the smoking stakes probably have a short price on the rail, Oldie. Big pace number. Sammy
Yeah.
Davis, 4 to 5 on the morning line, 32% to win. Well, we'll watch they're going 5.5. Ends up being the second pick. 5 sits off. Thirsty Rebel, Oldie, gonna try to take over in the stretch. It looks like, and just probably wins over the 1. What do you think?
I think Sammy Davis is probably gone here. Um, I also think that you know, if Thirsty Rebel was that live, that Doug O'Neill would have Frazier on that horse instead of on the 3. He barely
Yeah,
ever uses Lascano.
he rode last out first time. I mean, he kept with the mount, but yeah, his go-to is probably Fraser. You're right. Hmm. I didn't catch that. I mean, that's a good point. I like the 1 with you though. I agree.
Yeah,
We saw these first 2 races, and I sent you a message before. Like, you can't play a daily double, but you could parlay the win from Thursday into this race. I like both of those picks, Oldie. I mean, these are 2 picks. I think the 7 at Kentucky Downs. Again, you just put it to win. You can parlay it in here on the 1 horse, because I think the 1. I see this horse just kind of running off for Barrios and Sadler. 1 easy in these
yeah,
races at Del Mar. I mean, the 5.5's the question, but I don't think so. Not versus this group, in my opinion. I
yeah.
think this horse probably sends and is gone. So,
Bill. Just the one eye, though.
so Bill, you're returning to the NHC. You mean the ones that you play online? So you're going to try to qualify. The what you do the ones that David and Scotty cover on Friday? Oli, did anything else on anybody in this race?
No, I mean, the 3 would be my second choice, but it's extremely lukewarm. Did lead last time out.
Yeah,
Um, you know, maybe improves here if they can get that under control without LASIK. So, um, you know, I really didn't have a strong opinion though anywhere else.
yeah. No, I mean that horse could run the 5. If anybody, if you want a price in the exacta, for me it might be the 6. This horse romp last out, right? Finally got to 5.5, a bit longer
Yeah,
distance, maybe, but I like that horse underneath. I like the 1. So you and I agree, Oldie there. So all right, let me. So that's the 5th Oldie Del Mar, the Smoking Stakes race number. What was it, 7? And so
yeah,
you're 1, and I would be just 1, and then cold to the 6 in the exacta.
correct.
All right, I'll show that real quick. All right, we're gonna keep going. Only 1 stakes on Friday too, Oldie.
Yep.
At least that I saw, unless I missed anything. But all
Well,
right,
Kentucky Downs doesn't run on Fridays, so that
yes,
makes sense.
yeah, yeah, that's right. They race Thursday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yep.
All right, we're gonna keep going to Saturday the 6th. We're gonna cover the. We're gonna look at the graded stakes at Colonial, right, Oldie?
Yes, correct.
So Colonial, the last, they actually have a good stakes card. We're gonna cover the last, and then we're gonna flip back to Kentucky Downs. We can show the Downs, right, Oldie, on Saturday.
We will be showing the Downs on Saturday for sure.
All right, World Beater, 37%. There's a pace square on the 7th, 13 colonies. Couple GSR droppers only in the 3 and 8. That's why I try to do that when I'm watching the race sim.
Yeah, I mean, I think we both agreed on this one.
The Old Dominion, 500,000. It's a big purse, Oldie, and that's when I handicapped this race. And I'll let you talk about your top pick, but you know, I was like, oh man, it's a really good purse. And that might, I think that's why horse got a big shot here. But what do you think?
Yeah, I thought World Beater is just a cut above this entire group. I thought this was a
Yeah,
pretty awful field.
yeah,
Um, for a grade three, you have a grade one winner who finished second in its other grade one effort, it going against a bunch of horses that just don't seem very good. So, um, I just landed there. Um, if I had to put a put something together here, I would throw the 7 and the 4 with that in an exacta, and that would be the play. But I don't really have a strong opinion of which one of those will finish second. Um, it's a bad field.
yeah. I mean, has won 3 of 4 Oldie race, in the Saratoga. I'm guessing Derby, if I remember right, but 74 SOR. I mean, that's 10 points tougher. And just got up by half length, but I mean, a nice race. Riley Mott Jr. rode there, but Torres has been aboard previously and rode at Churchill, and now they show up at Colonial. And then, I mean, here, Oldie finally broke the maiden here, but is hit the board in 6 of 8. And this just looks like so much better than this group. I
Yeah,
mean, wins easy on the race sim. I mean, I think the 7 holds on. You, I think, talked about the 7 and 4. And I agree, the 4 finds a much easier kind of spot than some of these races. But I mean, to me, these horses are underneath. I still think these three races that we just covered, I think that you could take these horses. They'd be all strong opinions in my mind for me, for the 6 here and from those prior 2 races. Just Ben, I mean, didn't win here in the Belmont at 9, gets back to 9, but has proven at 9 only, and that was a 70.
yeah.
And this is going to
And
be a 64.
if you get 6 to 5 or 9 to 5, the morning line says 6 to 5. That's a run to the bank.
Yeah, no,
There.
that was my. I think if you just win, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna win bet these first 3 races we covered and parlay it into World Beater because I think it could be 3 in a row. Like so, but I'm with you 6 to 5, and yeah, maybe you get good exacta the 6 over the. I'd agree. Probably the 7 or 4 both have shots. So, all right, we're gonna keep going. Over Gulfstream Park. We got we'll cover 3. There's a handicap in the middle of them, but
Yeah.
2-year-old fillies, Oldie, the FTBOA Florida Sire Desert Vixen Stakes. Lena Lou,
Yes.
Lena Lou, and Love Like Lucy. Top 2 picks. Evolution, the long shot, maybe in between.
Lena Lou, by the way, cross entered at Kentucky Downs.
Oh, that's a good thing, Oldie. Because I don't think Lena Lou want the dirt at Gulfstream Park. I mean,
I agree.
I know Lena Lou wins the race sim, but I go look and I mean the GSR drops 21 points. I don't, Linster. I'm assuming is a newer sire oldie because just the racing career. I remember
Yeah.
this horse. So, but and the GS, I don't know. Ben Cohen has Murrah ride. Wise a costume on riding, but usually would use him. I would think he uses him a lot of the time on the babies.
Mhm.
But what do you think?
Yeah. So, first of all, make sure to note that Bean Cone is 0 for 23 off the layoff. He
There
is
you go.
not
Yes.
he is not good when the come firing back from a layoff. So
Yeah.
I I went elsewhere, even if Lena Lou stayed in this race. And I'm going to love Like Lucy here. I think you see it
Well,
that way too.
so the one I didn't even, yeah, I did. Well, actually, I got to parlay all four of those win bets, Oldie. We're going to start and try to hit four in a row. And so, because the only thing on this was that post is a little bit tough in the seven. You have to have speed, but I love Like Lucy. I think would have sat a dream trip. You get a scratch inside and let Lou go out of the race. It doesn't even matter. I mean, I think Love Like Lucy for Safi, who just won the Royal Palm meet, Oldie, and now they start the Sunshine meet. D'Angelo ready to come fire too, and we'll talk about him. But so is Safi, and this horse wins, in my opinion, pretty easily.
All right, so this is not in my picks, but I just noticed something after you mentioned Ocasio.
Yeah.
Look at the four Lagana
Yeah, first time out.
for being cone.
Yeah.
Same sire,
Yeah.
big
No,
bullet
I
work
mean,
last time out, and he's 19% with first time starters.
yeah, yeah. I mean, this horse probably can run for sure, but I still think Safi gonna win this race, so the end. Love Like Lucy. I mean, she won easy first time
Yeah.
out. I mean, pace, dual chick free. I mean, it was at 6, comes right back. I mean, it has a really strong GSR, I mean, and this is Safi. He ready to come fire. The
Yeah.
meet just starting. You know what I mean? Him and Jose ended up really close at the end of the last meet. Oldie Jose got within one, and then but I think the seven's tough, but I would agree the four can probably run to some extent, but for me would be underneath.
Yeah, and
Um,
in second, I had the 5 with Carlos David, the Scotty long shot there.
Evolution was in the
Right.
slot last out, right? In the 68. Um, I think Jaramillo's probably sending here would be my
Yeah.
guess, Oldie. And I think there's other speed. If Lena lose out of the race, finding strength with Yates is, I'll talk about this horse in a minute. I mean, I think this horse fits either way. Um, but all right, so you use the 5. I used the 2. So I'm now watching. If you take the 3 out of the race, it's 7-2. That's the exact I would play. I think this horse
Okay.
for Yates, he does really well with 2-year-olds, and they stretch out to 6. The GSR goes up. I mean, this should be my second pick. I mean, for me it'd be 7-2, Oldie.
And
All right,
I'd be 754.
okay, yeah, the Casio. Yeah, I could see the 4 running. I'd be this. I'd be 7-2-4. I guess, and I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of the 5, but I wouldn't knock your second pick. So, but I don't know. I still think the 7 on top. I think wins this race. So, all right, 4 in a row. I was thinking about this. I'm like, I'm gonna see. Let's see if we can nail 4-4. We've nailed like 2 or 3 in a row as we've started before. So, all right, we'll hit it in between. It's a handicap, Oldie, but we'll stick here. It's a good race on the turf,
Yeah.
and I actually really liked an angle. This is the now we'll start to disagree, but
Yeah.
it was consistent there. They'll be going 8, a 70,000 handicap. 8 horse Dominican Pioneer on the lead. The 2 up top gonna try to sit the trip up there. You have the 1 closing a little bit with the 6 and 7. And the 2 ends up winning the race in multi bit. Where'd you go here?
I went with the Scotty first pick. The 6 goes the clown. Honk honk wee wee. For Abreu here. Winner of 3 in a row. Moving up in class, but I think gets the pace to run into here, which is how I landed on that horse. Um, and is seems to be in excellent form. Won last time out at the distance. No reason why this horse shouldn't be flying at the end here.
Yeah, I have that horse. It's my third pick. I thought could improve. Yes, Abreu. Yes, I didn't necessarily like that it burned money in all these races, but I think the horse fits. So I can't. I love Takayo in this race. Oldie. I mean, this is like perfect. It's getting back to 8 furlongs. It had raced here versus much tougher. It didn't really run well. It was on the Tapeta track at the end of the Royal Palm meet. And Jose now is like, all right, we're ready to go. It's time to get back on the turf. And he's 4-year-old, right? Hit the board in 11 or 17. Won here in January of 24. So it's been a bit. But Jose got him. He's been taking it really slow. Ran really well last out, but didn't win as the favorite. But they get back to the turf. And I think it's perfect in a race like this. I mean, this is a pretty competitive race, and the 6 can be way back there. But I think this horse just sits this like dream tripledy. And finally, he gets back to the turf here. I mean, I think the race sim is just on fire and sees it perfect.
Well, I hope you're right for your sake, but I just I see this horse, being the type that gets to the lead in the stretch and then gets caught when it doesn't have the lead at the beginning there.
Okay.
And yes, I like that the GSR is going back up, but it hasn't run well at a mile either.
Yeah, I
Yes, it was
mean,
against batter, but it was also not close.
yeah, but look, it has 2 wins. So look, I mean, I get what you're saying. I mean, did win here and did win here at a mile. I mean, it's 2 of the 3 wins. You can get rid of all the dirt races. So
Yeah,
Sanchez, when he had this horse at Pimlico and Laurel, like just was not. And then look at that. He keeps it and he finally puts it on the turf and wins and ends up Cazares, and now was in Sanchez. They raced in that stakes race, tried to race up front, but that was too tough. You know what I mean? I think this horse, can sit the trip. I don't think needs the lead, but we'll find out.
yeah.
All right.
Uh,
So you had the 6 on top. Where'd you go with your second pick?
I went to the 9, believe it or not, for Stroke of Midnight. 12-1 on the morning line, so you might get a price. Really sneaky though, low percentage trainer putting Edwin aboard, which I caught as this horse may be live here, and that they might think they have something here. This horse can stalk this pace here, and will be kind of in between those speed horses and the 6. And I think with that one aboard could get a trip at a big price.
I thought this horse might be a little bit too far back. That was my note. But I do think Edwin gets this horse. I think he gives it a good ride. Like for me, I'd probably have more in like a try, but I could see. I mean, the horse have to improve, but it could gain back to the turf off that Tapeta effort. It's gonna be a
Yeah.
big price. I love that we have our own morning line already, old, even though the morning line not out on a Wednesday, but we have our own, so it makes it amazing. But okay, so you have the 9. I ended up having the 3 in second, and you wish. Orsino, Zayas. I mean, they stretch out, oldie, which I think will be okay. I mean, this horse has been sprinting, but when you look, I think maybe it gets to stretch out. But it's a question mark. That'll be the question. But if it can, I think it also could sit the trip. So that's where I went second. So I was 2, 3, and then I had your top horse, the 6 and third. You're 6'9", and then where'd you go for your third pick?
I originally had the 11, but I missed my own stat there with being cone, being over 23 off the layoff. So I'm going to go to the 3, which would have been my fourth pick there. I have all kinds of distance questions, which is why the horse is
Yeah,
not in first for me there. Um, but I think could get a piece there. I just
yeah.
don't think gets the distance.
I love the two. Oh man, it's just a great angle and wins the race sim and the long shot. I mean, I'm curious what the morning line's going to be on that horse. I bet you. Well, I don't know. Our morning line 8-1, so maybe it'll be around that price.
Yeah.
All right, so that's race number 9. The handicap I put down below. You're 6'9", and then you said you're 6'9" 3. Yes.
I am 693.
And
Yes.
I'm 2, 3, 6. Well, maybe we hit 5 in a row. That'd be amazing. But that's two. That's very
Mhm.
difficult. So, all right, Gulfstream Park number 10. Another stakes, the 100,000 FTBOA Florida Sire Dr. Fager Stakes. 2-year-olds. I watched a replay of a horse in this race, Oldie. And I remember it happening at Gulfstream Park.
Yeah.
5 horse out there, I maybe on the lead, maybe not on the lead, maybe winning the race, but and that's the horse that I watched. I'll talk about that horse, but where'd you go on top?
So I went with the Pinchin homebred Chorlani, who last time out ran in the slop in the Proud Man, and you see the GSR went down
Yeah,
7 points. And now, if it gets a dry track here, I think will be very, very dangerous. Won really easily first time out
yeah,
at 6 furlongs, so we know 6 furlongs isn't going to be an issue. It's the Scotty long shot here. It's also top SOR. It's 17%, so it's tied for second best win percentage. I think that the seven's very dangerous here at a 5-1 or whatever the morning line ends up being there.
yeah. This race, in my opinion, Oldie, is all 5 and 7. I'd play that exacta for sure in this race.
Yeah.
I actually put the 5 on top, but the 7 I think has a massive shot, and you talked about it, so I won't have to repeat it. But I watched this race for Crichton and Jaramillo, and All to Win was out kind of on the lead, just kind of like got this lead, and then like faded on the rail inside, and the other horses like came past. And then he was like, "Oh, I'm young and I'm still trying to figure out how to
Yeah.
race." And all of a sudden, he like races in between to win the race. And it doesn't happen that often. But I still think this race between the 5 and 7, like I in a horizontal would probably have to use both. Um, but it was like impressive. You just don't see it happen very often. But I think nice horse. I think can improve as that race was nearly a month ago, 30 days. They were on the work tab like right after, so the horse came out
Yeah.
obviously fine. And I think they're just still trying to get him to figure it out. Like race would be my guess, and I think runs a big race for Jaramillo and Crichton.
So I originally had the 6 and second and the 5 and third, but the 6 it's another being cone
This
off the
horse,
layoff.
I don't
So
think wants this distance, Oldie, either. This horse is a short sprinter. I mean, I don't. That's my concern with the 6 horse.
yeah, and it's another being cone layoff horse. I'm gonna pass on that horse, move the 5 up, and just be 7-5 there. I'll also say it's another Linster too, so You know, he
Yeah,
has all these Leinsters.
yeah, no, for sure. I was literally just typing a note, Oldie, about that. That's going to be interesting to watch. Um, but I was just 5'7". I'd put, I guess, the sixth third, but I worry a little bit of how this horse ran and then kind of stop last out. I know it's the favorite and kind of dueled.
Mhm.
Um, but and there's the kind of like what's gonna happen here. I mean, the six might get the lead. I mean, he might just send, I guess. It's kind of a question mark, I thought, with some of these.
Yeah, no, I agree.
All right, that's the last at Gulfstream for the weekend, only on Saturday. Now back to a massive day at the Downs. Starts in race 6, 12:24 Pacific, 3:24 Eastern time. The $2 million Light and Wonder Ladies Marathon, only 10 and a half. They're going a long ways. I got to expand the race
Yeah.
sim. 6 horse here, 11 outside. No Mo Candy.
No, no,
So
great card.
where 6
Or did
horse
I?
looks like gonna win the race sim? Yes. Stellify. What do you think here?
So, I'm a big Beach Bomb fan, but I didn't go there here because I just thought there might be too much speed here and Beach Bomb's not going to get the lead. I went for a huge upsetter here, and I went with the one horse, Ira Stark, on top.
Well, so one question I had, Oldie, when because we talked about No Mo Candy in the race tomorrow in race 9, and this is it shows up as a bit of an easier race, but the problem is I'm not sure that she can get as easy of a lead here. So if your connections, in my opinion, I'd send her into the race tomorrow and I would leave her there. I know the purse is a lot less, but that's my perspective.
Well, I also don't know if she wants 10 and a half furlongs, too.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think Safi find a better spot tomorrow, is my opinion. But so, all right. So, no, Beach Bomb, I thought had a big shot, Oldie, but you put the one on top. Iora Stark?
Same win percentage as Beach Bomb. Um,
Yes.
won pretty easily last time out at Colonial, 9.5. I think could sit the trip here, for Nacho Correas. And, the system's picking something up. And when it picks something up like this, you got to pay attention. And, Beach Bomb, ran great in that New York, but really does its best running at longer distances on the lead. And I'm not convinced the horse can get the lead here.
I mean, Louis is gonna send. I mean, let's say No Mo Candy scratches out.
Philip Stellify, who wins the race sim, by the way, but to me, absolutely needs the lead in this situation. And
Uh,
it's
uh,
cheaper.
yeah, I think this horse has a big shot, though, man. I was between the 3 and 6, and like I honestly don't have a strong opinion, and maybe if the 11 scratches, it'll change my opinion. Maybe, uh, but I thought it was between stuff. I thought that she could improve, Oldie. I mean, she won this race is really easy, won at the Downs, but she's coming back. I mean, she just raced. but I
Yeah.
know that stuff happens, and like I've seen it in other parts of the world. Whether it's Australia or Europe. Um, but if the 11's out, I think Beach Bomb has a big shot. Louis gonna be right there. She's raced so good on the front end. For me, it's between those two. I would say whether No Mo Candy in the race or not. I had No Mo Candy third, but and then so where'd you go for your second pick?
I went to the horse that beat Beach Bomb or finished ahead of Beach Bomb last time out in the Beverly D, Spanish Eyes, the 4 for Brandon Walsh. But that horse is a little bit of a money burner. But maybe the Kentucky Downs track is what it's looking for here. And Spanish Eyes 7-2 on the morning line, 12-1 on the E morning line. The E morning line doesn't like, but has been in some good grade ones. Looked very good in that Beverly D. I would suggest watching that back. And I prefer to Beach Bomb here.
I had that horse fourth, so I was 3, 6, 11, 4. And that again, I have a huge preference on 3 or 6. And then why don't you talk about your third pick, Oldie?
Yeah, so I was on Duvet Day for McCarthy here. Also finished ahead of Beach Bomb in the Beverly D. I think maybe the distance and the stretch out might be too long, but we'll see for this horse. It has run in some pretty long races. Doesn't win very often, but I think could get a piece here. There wasn't one that I liked on the win line, but I kind of liked underneath.
Yeah, I mean, has gone some long races and run okay, but
Yeah.
all right. That's there's a bunch, so we're gonna keep going. The Light and Wonder, 2 milli. We'll see what happens with Safi and No Mo Candy, where she lands up. She lands here, where she lands up racing tomorrow. All right, number 7, Oldie. The 2.5 milli. It gets even bigger. Mint
Yep.
Millions Invitational, sponsored by FanDuel TV. They're going 8 on the turf. I did cut the 6, 8, 10, Oldie, so we can kind of see on the race sim here. Goliad looks to be the speed of the speed here. Epic
Won
ride.
two won 2 races last year, including this one at
Yes.
Kentucky Downs.
Yes. I agree. I thought that horse had big shots still. I didn't put it on top, but
I didn't use just because I didn't like the form at this point in the year, but Papa doesn't ship all that often. He's shipping here, so maybe you should pay attention. But I'm going to go against that horse. I'm going to go against Spirit of St. Louis as well, who I just feel like you can't trust. I'm going to go with the 3 Cairo, who ran well in the Arlington Million, had a little trip trouble early, was bumped pretty hard at the start, and has been in against some really good horses, including at Ascot, finished third in an 84. I think Cairo, second time in the country, could run a big race, and these foreign horses have done really well at Kentucky Downs.
yeah, and I think is that track, like the way it's laid out, right, Oldie, and how the turf course, is not just the I think it goes like up and
Yeah.
down, right, and like you obviously it's the only course outside the sending it downhill course that has that right kind of hook bend essentially, and you have to have stamina, right, and you got to be fit is the big thing, right? So you
Yeah.
talked about, is a horse in form or not? Um, I think makes a lot of sense at a track like Kentucky Downs because you want those horses to be fit. So, all right, you got the 3 on top. I ended up putting the 5 on top. I like this horse quite a bit. Spirit of St. Louis. We've covered Spirit of St. Louis so much. I mean, I think we've covered a lot of horses a lot. We talked a lot about Tawnyport, but Spirit of St. Louis, I mean, he's a nice horse. I think has not raced here, Oldie, and I thought a little bit, Goliad, I think, has that speed. To your point, has won here before, won 2 races last summer in 6 days. We just talked about that a minute ago. And was it Shellify? Horses come back and can win here. You saw that happen, Goliad, last year.
Yeah.
I thought with all this speed, Oldie, the horse like Spirit of St. Louis is considered a dream trip and finds easier. Won the Turf Classic at 9. I mean, they're cutting all the way back to 8, and they race at 8 at Saratoga. So the thing I always do is go to the GSR, but it's 1-3 of 5. So I don't really worry about that because you go back here, Oldie, at the Big A, won both those 8 furlong efforts in
Yeah.
72 and 78 last summer. So I mean, maybe not quite in like the form that he was, but I think fits in this race in a grade 3 after facing grade 1 company. I don't think there's anything wrong with Spirit of St. Louis, but I think finds a much better spot here in like a tough track that I would hope. I think this horse is going to be fit with Chad and Manny and just, I think will run and has a good pace to sit right off.
Yeah, so I'd spare to St. Louis in second. I think all the things you said are true. I just think Cairo might be a little bit better closing there.
All right. Where'd you go for your third pick?
I went to the other Euro here, Point Linnaeus. Again, been in with some good horses in Europe. This is an older 6-year-old, been running right around that mile distance for since 2021 or 2022, really. You know, doesn't always finish up, but that's been against tougher. And I think with Vittoria aboard, this horse might have a big shot as well.
All right. I didn't have that horse in my picks, but I don't blame you. I'd be I think 5-7-11 Oldie. We'll talk about Brand Birdie for a second. I mean, Cherie, I think makes sense in this race. I mean, comes off the layoff. I don't worry about that. There's a little note there. Got the lead and didn't want it, so I'd toss that race for sure in the Arlington, right? So
Yeah.
I mean, I think this horse did a good trip, but I'd have this horse underneath. I mean, I like Spirit of St. Louis quite a bit here in this race. I think just from a class, Oldie fits, but I had the 7 second. So you're 3, 5, 9, and I'm
And let me give
5.
you one more here that I think
Yeah.
just if Goliad doesn't get to the lead or scratches or it could set a trap as well. The 4 Air Recruit at a big price, is a big step up in class. But I like the cutback, was on the lead in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. And Anita 23 is 2-0 this year since coming off the layoff as well. For Delacour, I think that this is one that, if this horse is ready and fit, could surprise.
All right. So you're 3, 5, 9, 4, and race 7, the FanDuel Mint Millions, and I'm 5-7-11 would be Epic Ride would be the only other. Enos Price. They get back to 8 furlongs, Oldie, and that's what this horse wants. I mean, this horse only been on the turf 2 times. But look at GSR for Blame, Pick a Time. I think it'd be a big price, and I mean, Enos gonna have this horse ready. I mean, I think you find a good GSR angle, you find a good SOR angles here. This horse has run well. Got to work out a trip, but if anywhere, Kentucky Downs. You know what I mean. So, all right, we are headed to the next Oldie race number 8. the $2 million for 3-year-olds Exacta Systems Gun Runner Stakes. I was like, what's Exacta Systems? What does that even mean?
I think that might be a tote company, but I'm not sure.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. There's a big group, 14 of them, Oldie.
Yeah, but 14 that are really not very good.
Well, the 11 GSR drops Rolando, clever again out there as well with the 5 Forged Steel. Gio Costa got a big GSR. 1 and 2 have GSR increases.
Mm,
New Century says I'm taking over in the stretch on the race sim and wins the race. What do you think, Oldie?
yeah. I mean, that's where I went. I
Mm-hmm.
partially just because of the race sim as well, and because all these horses stink. Uh, they just do. I mean,
I have this horse
you,
on top. You and I see this race the same.
yeah.
So, but no, I think the 7. I agree with you.
I mean, the 4 did win a grade 2 last time out at Colonial, but it's Colonial and that doesn't always transfer elsewhere. Um, but that's the best win, I think, in this entire field. Uh,
I mean, this is just a stakes race, but it's got a $2 million purse.
yeah. And of course,
Hey.
Gunrunner known for his turf running.
Yeah. But I mean, you have New Century Oldie. I mean, Brendan Walsh, I rad. They get back to 8, where this horse won both its races.
Yeah.
You go all the way back here, won at 7 overseas. But had those 2 races at Saratoga, you get the GSR increase at a track like Kentucky Downs. And you look here. I mean, there's some speed up front, Oldie, but not good speed in my opinion. I
Right.
mean, I'm not on any of these horses. Like I think this horse it's a dream trip. I mean, 3-1 in my mind. I mean, it's only 14%. I get it, but the race sim has this thing nailed. It's the top pick. I mean, I think this
Yeah.
horse has a big shot. I'm with you. I had this horse on top as well.
And then in second, I landed on the 1 Namaron. First time in the country, first time saddler, gets Pratt aboard,
Yeah.
won a grade 3, going slightly longer in Europe, but granted, very weak grade 3 by SOR. This horse could just be better than this group of not very good horses.
Yeah. No, I had that horse third. I agree with you. So I don't have a lot to say. I put the 4 as second, and I know that's your third pick. I put our picks up there, unless you change your mind. But DeSormo, Ben Curtis, I
Yeah.
mean, one last out. I mean, this one of Kent's nicest horses.
Yeah.
I mean, it couldn't win at fairgrounds, but that was on the dirt. They get to the turf. I mean, you can kind of probably. I mean, this horse has run good races on the dirt or on the Tapeta. I mean, not really great. I mean, finished third here, but the turf races are where you want to look, Oldie. And maybe this horse improves, but I'm all over New Century. Like I
Yeah.
like that horse quite a bit in this race.
Well, the other one that I left off, but I probably should say in fourth here, would be Layabout for Bianco at a big price. Won the Bears down at Gulfstream. There has won 3 in a row, has been on the improve, isn't coming off a layoff for Bianco, and is working very well.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. This horse fits. I mean, that run well going 8 and back to back horse fits. I mean, no, I agree. I mean, that if that horse could improve. I mean, if anybody's going to improve, you could see a horse like that. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
mean, they're everybody kind of. There's nobody really running on. I mean, the 4 is the main contender on the race sim, but
The worst
yeah,
$2 million field you're ever going to see.
I would. I mean, it's not like it's bad. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it does look like New Century is going to be tough, in my opinion.
All right.
All right,
Let's,
we're moving
let's
on. What do we? We're about an hour in. Pretty good, oldie. All right,
yeah.
race number 9. 2 milli again. The AGS Music City Stakes. Another huge field, so we gotta move
Yeah.
the race sim. Well, actually, might be okay. I did scratch. We can watch it because I took the 2 out, so we can pretty much see it here. I always like to try to run it. We got the algorithms over here too. So 10 horse, she's so spicy, 57%, Oldie. I
Oh,
mean, this horse gonna be speed, speed, speed for D'Angelo and Jose.
yeah. And the other speed's also D'Angelo here,
Yeah,
or
the
one of
one
the
with
others.
with Ricardo. So 10 horse there takes them all the way. I mean, at the first call, you have the 1 inside, you have the 10 outside. The one kind of backs up, right? And then there's all these horses coming. We were talking about closers in the coaching class today. But what do you is the 10 gonna take them all the way, Oldie? Is somebody gonna try? I mean, they're going 6.5. Is somebody gonna try to come late?
So I liked an upsetter here. I like the 5 horse Tabidi for Beckett coming in the country. Um, it's a Juddmonte homebred. Had Ryan Moore aboard last time, so you know it's a live horse. It gets to Tory here, and you know that this horse, is going to be running late, and to me there looks like there's a lot of speed in this race, and I think this horse is going to get set up very well for finishing and potentially beating this group.
Um, Yeah, I do think this horse fits. I mean, it's a foreign horse, so we're always cautious because the win percents, right, Oldie? That's the one thing
Yeah,
for people watching. Like, that's we don't have all this foreign data, so I wouldn't just dismiss the horse because it's 3%. We have strength of race info, so from that perspective, this horse fits. Frankie rides his. I believe he's been riding good at the meet, right, Oldie?
yeah. So far, I mean, short amount of
Yeah.
races, but he
No, of
he
course.
won a big money race, one of the big money races last weekend.
Yeah. So I ended up putting the 9 on top. Kill win. I
Mhm.
mean, this. I almost I looked at She's So Spicy a long time, but then I looked here. I mean, she's an outstanding horse, Oldie. I mean, she's incredibly well bred, which is crazy. BBN Racing. They must have wherever they purchased her, but she won at 7 on the turf, on the lead, way off the lead. I think the post is great for Jose Oldie. I think it's fine. He's such a funky track when they go 6.5 and outside post. She's gonna get like a dream stocking trip. And I think makes a lot of sense here. I mean, and again, the win at the test and then to ship here. I'm curious how often that actually happens, if ever. You know what I mean? But that was impressive. And I think versus this group, and sure, I do think there's a lot of speed, which is my concern for She's So Spicy Oldie. But I think she has a big shot. But I put the 9 on top.
All right, that was who I had in second. So I'll just talk. My third place horse was She's So Spicy. You know, we've kind of talked about that horse. I don't know, 6.5 might be too long for that horse too. But and didn't run a lick at Ascot. But has run some good races at 5.5, has shown the ability to rate a little bit. I just think there's, which she's a funky trummer and classic Q and her stablemate. I think there's too much speed here, and Jungle Peace as well, who 100% needs the lead. Uh, I just think she's kind of up against it to win here.
Yeah, no, I think she has a shot, but I again, I like the 9 on top. I put her second, so the 10 second and add the 5. So we just said we have the same 3 horses, just see it a little bit different. Before we go, we should talk about the 7 pondering, just because it's the long shot. I mean, this horse is stretching out, Oldie. I mean, 1 of 72, won fairly easily. Here was the favorite, going 5.5. I mean, Gaff rides. He rode last out. I'd probably put this horse fourth, I guess. I think the pick's going to have this thing nailed, and then you have that foreign horse that can probably run. So,
Yeah.
all right. We're going to go to the 10th. Another 2 million. These were all 2 was so 2 million, 2.5 million, 2 million, 2
Yeah.
million, 2 million, 2.5 million. That is what, a total of 4.5, 6.5, 8.5, 10.5, 11, 13 million in graded stakes, Oldie.
Yep.
It's pretty incredible. The Ainsworth Franklin-Simpson, the 10th at Kentucky Downs. Let's watch the race, Oldie. Another big group. I'm going to expand it. Governor Sam. They're going 6.5. It's
Yeah.
just such a funky distance with the hook they have in the horse and the course and everything. Oldie.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a strange distance. Here, I know they also do 6. It was definitely an interesting race, a little better of a field here. I wound up. I thought the presence of Mia Baggio and troubleshooting here and Golden Afternoon for Governor Sam was going to make it tough for Governor Sam to win here. So I love the cutback on the Scotty second pick, Dream On, the other Cassie here. And nearly won first time out of Woodbine at 6.5 in a stakes race. I think can sit a trip here, can stalk that speed, and I think we'll be finishing up big time there. And I think that this horse might just be a little better than this group on that cutback.
Whoa. I like Governor Sam, but I know the GSR drops, Oldie. That's so I was trying to figure that out when I looked at this race. That was, and I was looking at it, and I could see Dream On the race sim, and then I see this horse like Golden Afternoon. I mean, this horse is showing the ability to rate, and for Vacarezza, I remember covering this guy at Fairgrounds, Oldie. I think he has a big family, right? I mean, and now shows up here at Kentucky Downs, and I'm like, oh my gosh, they have a horse like Mia Baggio that you talked about, and the GSR is dropping. And this horse burned money. I mean, this I for sure, was one of the tougher races. I'd be spread here. I think when it came down to it, I don't even know why this horse 2%, but I don't. I just put the 7 on top. I'm gonna just get past the GSR, maybe at 6.5. We're gonna find out. But if Governor Sam, in my opinion, Oli doesn't win this race, anybody could win. I this is a that'd be just my perspective here. Um, wasn't definitely not a strong opinion for me.
So I had Governor Salmon second, but I don't feel great about it either. The other horse that I really liked was Spiced Up, who won at 5.5 at Saratoga, closing in the Grade 3 Mahoney. Very lightly raced too, could improve. I kind of like a 4-8 exacta here.
All right, spiced up from Mont Alvarado. Like, I mean, I would I'd put that horse would be probably fourth for me, somewhere around. I mean, I could see. I ended up putting Chasing Liberty ultimately. I mean, I kept looking. And I'm like, wow, this horse won here. I mean, it won the juvenile sprint, a year ago. Like, I mean, it hasn't been winning, but it now gets back to Kentucky Downs, which is its highest GSR number for Constitution, and I'm like, I hate that this horse didn't win when it was 82% on the dirt, but I don't in this race, Oldie, I'm like anybody can win. So I mean, I think if the 7 don't win, I think this race is wide open. Like, and partially only because the 7 taking so much win percent, it totally kind of when you look at everybody else, Oldie, they're anywhere from 2 to 7%, 8. Sorry, 2 to 8,
Yeah.
right? So when I look at that, I'm like, well, whether you're 2 or 8, because Governor Sam took so much, like I think many have a shot. So I mean, I'd put the 6 second. Um, so you're 4. You
Seven,
are
eight.
4, 7, 8 in race 10, the Franklin-Simpson, and I was 7. I'd just say 7, 6. As a long shot, I guess I'd say 7, 6, 9, 4. Probably would be how I'd see it. All right, that's the 10th oldie on Saturday. One more, no, two more, two more. No, one more, and then we'll jump over to Laurel.
Yeah.
Another 2.5 million. The KTDF Kentucky Turf Cup Invitational Stakes, a smaller field. We have seen so many of these, Oldie.
Yep.
These are all of our best friends of the stretch run.
Mm-hmm.
I love it though. It's so cool. I mean, whether Mercante, Tawny Port, Grand Sonata, Utah Beach, Corruption, Fort Washington. Fort
Okay, yep.
Washington, I know a lot of people here. I think we were at Saratoga and that horse won, if I remember right, when I was at Saratoga. Has no speed.
No, and I thought this was probably a 2-horse race. Yeah, but we'll see.
Corruption and Mercante out front. They're going 12, so they're going a long ways.
Both those horses could rate though, so I'm not sure which one is gonna be on the lead either or gonna want it.
Well, yeah. I mean, when you go on the race sim, I mean, you have the 5 and 10. They're both there. They're both there. They're both there. Then at the top of the stretch, everybody kind of coming, and then, I mean, some come. I guess the 7 and 3 tried to come right off. Our good friend Tawny Port with Utah Beach at the finish, but at the stretch, the 5, 6, 10 are all right there. Grand Sonata, Corruption, Fort Washington going to come flying. What do you think?
Yeah, so I landed with Corruption on top. Here, the 6-1 on the morning line, 3-1 on the morning line. Winner last time out at 11, has a win at 12. It is a step up in class, but has run decently in a grade 3 and a grade 1. The I think could just sit right off Mercante, or Mercante could sit right off Corruption. Both of them can rate. But I think this just might be Corruption's race. Um, so that's where I landed on top.
Um, they're going 12, and I think your 10 has a big shot. I mean, would be my one comment. I mean, it's out there. You know, you have Mercante, 174. You know, who's going to be on the lead? You have Jose and Ramos. You know, I'm guessing Jose maybe try to sit off, but I don't know. You know what I mean? But and then when you have Fort Washington, Utah Beach, and Tawnyport, I just can't take Tawnyport Oldie. I mean, I can't, but maybe he runs a big race. So to me, it was between the 7 and the 11. Utah Beach, Correas, Rosario has won at 12, raced once at Kentucky Downs. And you have Fort Washington, who's in complete form, running well, off the pace, Junior McGahee.
Mhm.
That's where I'm going. I put the 11 on top. I think this was at Colonial, is what the Arlington Million, right? And I think that was on this. It was on the same day I was up in at Saratoga with the kids, and Matt was up there with Brad, and got a chance to see all those guys with Howard and everybody. It was really fun, and my kids loved it. But they were all in Fort Washington that day. I wish I was, because I wasn't. But one. But I mean, that was a 78 oldie. I think he's in form. I know the GSR drops a little bit, but when you go here, I mean, 10 to 10 and a half, I think it's going to be okay. Oldie, I mean, I think the outside post, I think there's enough speed up there that I think you'll sit a good trip at Kentucky Downs, come flying. I think has a big shot.
All right, that's who I have in second. And I do think we'll be flying at the end. I just don't know if there's enough speed here. And I have Mercanti, the 5 horse, in third. Grade 3 winner, nearly won a grade 1. The stretch out is the question here.
Yeah.
Second
No.
off the layoff.
Yeah. I could see it. I I I ended up putting Utah Beach in second. I talked a bit about that just with the racing. I mean,
Sure.
4 of 8 oldie has raced here at Kentucky Downs. We got to go all the way back though as a maiden. Ended up running second on the rail for Chris. Rosario rides. Hopefully get a good ride. I mean, he hasn't been aboard, but I mean, I this horse come from a little bit tougher from the Sword Dancer, and has won at 12. One at Keeneland was 12 to 1
Sure.
that day. You know, one back to back in the Louisville Churchill, a 68. So I think fits, but so I had the 7 second, uh and our good friend Tawny Port in the second pick. I maybe the best chance to hit the try, maybe Oli or something for Tawny Port, but I don't think Tawny Port can win. But
Ah,
I like the 11-7 quite a bit. I'd just be 11-7, I think, here.
all right, and I'm 10, 11, 5.
All right. That was the 11th. I'm 11-7. You're 10-11-5. The last on Saturday, the Kentucky Turf Cup Invitational, the 2.5 million, total of 13 million all day on Saturday in graded stakes. All right. We got one more on Saturday. Headed back to Laurel Park. When did Oldie, the me must open this week? Like
Yeah,
tomorrow? When do they start racing?
they start racing, I think, Friday.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah,
second day, they do have a stakes, 12:27 my time. The Twixt, they also have a stakes on Saturday or on Sunday, but
yes.
big field here. Let's watch the race sim. There's 10 of them. So I I haven't we haven't been playing Laurel Oldie because they haven't been running, but you always do well here.
Yeah, no, Laurel plays, I think, pretty fairly. It's a good track. The You got some interesting fields, especially on the turf there. So I'm excited they're back.
Tough posts outside, like any dirt, 10, 8 furlong sprint. Um, you go back here, neither have speed. That'd be my concern there. The 8 has
Yeah.
speed, which probably helps its case. It's wild about Hillary is the long shot. 7 comes running on as well as the 5. But what do you think here?
Yeah, so I landed on Wild About Hillary. Graded stakes winner at 8.5, won one at Oaklawn this year. Has went into the Apple Blossom, which was a ridiculous placement for the horse, and got torched by Torpedo Anna there. Um, the grade 3 Shawnee didn't run well there. Again, way too tough. But
Yeah.
back to the level that this horse, nearly won a 68 last time out, gets a little bit of a freshener here. I think is going to be ready to roll here for Tanner Tracy.
You need to ask our good buddy Jake to talk to Tanner about Wild About Hillary and how I know he knows him, how she's doing. Um, I think she has a shot, Oldie. I had her in third. I ended up putting. I'm gonna land on the 6, Oldie. Um, I was trying to decide between really the 4, 5, 6, and I think Ragtime Diva, this Ragtime Bell, Runaway Diva, the 5. I mean, in the Brittany barn has been a different horse, and she got her to stock right as 6-year-old here. She's lightly raced, but she likes 8. She won there. She won at
Mm-hmm.
Delaware. It's a long shot pick kind of because I think you probably are going to get a good price, and she's going to be coming from like way back. But I don't know. There's something about this group, Oldie, that I see this race maybe falling apart a little bit um, up front, and I think she's going to be flying. I mean, it's tough to come from that far back, but at least she has a good post. But I put her on top. Uh, where'd you go with your second pick?
So I'm gonna make I made a move to Linda but not St. Benedict's prep, but Tipple, the 4 horse there, beat a group of 66s last time out, can stalk. Um, one at the distance at Colonial, or not at a little longer at Colonial, shortens up, has a win at a mile at Aqueduct. I think that this horse has a big shot here if they go as fast as they might here.
Yeah, no, I had this horse in fourth. I believe. Yeah, it was 6, 5, 8, 4. So you talked about the 8. I'll talk about the 5 in a second. But no, I agree. I mean, Linda, they cut back to 8. I mean, I think this horse makes a lot of sense in a race like this. Could improve. Again, the win percents are fairly wide open for me, Oldie here, which made it a little bit tough. But I think runs well on the race sim. I think makes a lot of sense. She finds a good 6 race in the Twixt. I put Runaway Diva second. I don't really know the connections. I mean, Hemingway, Rosado. I mean, this horse going to have to improve, but just romped last out and has run some great races. Ran a great allowance race
Yeah.
there in 8 at Colonial, and they get back to the dirt. Oldie was the biggest thing, right? I mean, just scratch all the turf races. I mean,
Yeah.
and she ran fine. I mean, she ran at 58s, but I don't think she won the turf. I mean, you go back, she has run really well at Colonial. It's 2 wins and 1 at Tampa, but looks like she ran at Laurel just once. Versus much tougher. So I think could improve potentially.
All right. And in third, I went with a last minute change because I nearly missed it. The 9, Foxy Jr., who gets back to dirt. has a 21 point GSR improvement and has wins good enough to win this race at 8.5 and a mile 70, as well as at 7 furlongs. So, could sit a trip here stalking, has been very competitive and has wins at Laurel as well, not just at Parks. So I think Foxy Jr. Might be in a position to surprise us here, and that's my third pick.
All right. So Laurel race number 8 on Saturday. The Twixt Stakes. Oh, the year 849, and I am 6584. All right, that's it for Saturday. We got 3 on Sunday, then we're going to close it down. Thanks, everybody, for watching. If you're in the chat, still feel free to chime in. So we have on Sunday, Oldie, 2 over at Kentucky Downs, and we'll do 1 more at Laurel. Whoops, wrong day. Hold on. Sunday, the Downs, race 9, Street Beast. We had World Beater earlier. Now we have Street Beast.
Street Beast.
And one last out here, Oldie, not too long ago. We've seen it before. We just talked about that.
Yeah. I hated this field, too. This was another field that I did not think was very good. I don't know what you thought of it, but I just thought, JJ Gray was where I ended up for McPeak. I didn't love it, but the horse won pretty easily at Colonial at the distance. There just doesn't seem to be all that much here. So and the horse has some tactical speed. I don't have a lot of good things to say.
No, but here would be my. I think this is a really tough race, though. Oldie would be, and I do think I could probably try to cut some horses just based on GSR. But whether it's the 7, the 3, the 2, or the 5, I mean, I kind of all put them together, to be honest, because I can make a case for all of them. Colebrook, impressive, 1 on the 7. Go to JJ Gray, like you said, McPeak, Hernandez, they come back, 1 easy, 25%, good price. I land on the maiden. You mean, wow, it's Irad and D'Angelo. I mean, wasn't winning, but they just raced here. Like, come back and run again. We liked the race. It was a 48 maiden. The horse is prime. Jose takes a lot of time, I feel like, to get his horses really to go, Oldie. And, he's just gonna this race, I think there's not necessarily a ton here that's like super impressive, but I think a lot of these horses could win, Oldie. Like, I mean, it's a wide open 2-year-old race, so I was 2-7-3-5, but like not huge preference.
Okay. I ended up with the 7 in second, wins the race in pretty easily.
Yeah.
Did win a stakes at 6.5. Stretch out might be a little bit of a question that quickly, but like you said, it's been done before. And then I went with the 10, Thunder Zeus, for being coned there. Zeus, we all know, is known for his lightning, but this Zeus is known for his thunder, apparently. And, the being coned, so this is what's interesting. He's 21% with first-time starters. He's 18% with second-time starters. And then his horses must never win because he's 13% overall.
The one thing with him would be my perspective is that he really knows how to get young horses ready. Like, to me, and I don't know, like, I'm just of my observation from him at Gulfstream Park this summer, Oldie. He is great to get a horse fit and ready as like a young 2 year old, but then I think what happens is like he's not as successful as they keep continuing. But I
Yeah.
mean that would be my kind of observation a little bit based on what you're saying, based on the win percent.
And he owns this. This is a homebred for him with Andy, his daughter, and he's putting um, Keith, her boyfriend, up riding here too.
Wait, Andy's boyfriend's Keith?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
I did
Pretty
not know
well
that.
known.
Oh,
Yeah,
I did not know that. Oh, well, good for them. A horse racing couple, Keith and Andy. I didn't know. But but Patrick does so good with these young 2 year olds. I mean,
yeah,
so maybe this is, I talked about the two, but maybe the 10 is the maiden. You know what I mean? But and again, I think Street Beast, I think, has a big shot. Oldie,
yeah,
I ended up just putting in second. I had your 3 horse in third. Um, and then again, the 5 was a bit just of kind of a long shot play or something. I think, I mean, this would be a total wild card if I was spreading for Curtis. They get back to 8. Kentucky Downs is a tough track. I mean, if this horse can be a big price, and runs well in the race sim, right? I mean, runs third
yeah.
only. So, um, all right. Well, hold on. I'll put our picks in real quick. This was Kentucky Downs on the 7th. They have 2, Oldie. This was race number 9 at the Downs. They have such a great meet. All right, you were 3, 7, 10,
Yep.
and I was 2, 7, 3, 5. All right, there's that below. All right, one more at the Downs, Oldie. That's race 9. Now to race 10, the Untappable Stakes. Back to 6.5, and we talked about this, and it was like Lena Lou racing over there on the dirt. I don't think Lena Lou
Mhm.
should be racing on the dirt at Gulfstream Park. Lena Lou need to be on the turf, Oldie, and then she showed up here for
Yep.
2 year olds. Big win percent. Let's watch the race then. I'll expand it real quick. So there's a lot of these horses, all these GSRs drop, Oldie.
Yep. A lot of them don't want this distance, um, or don't want turf. So yeah, I really thought this was probably, if Lena Lou's ready to fire, I thought this is the 2 horse race.
Well, she wins on the race sim.
But he's
And
over
she's the long
23.
shot.
As I mentioned, though, he's over 23 off the layoff. So you got to be careful with that one.
Yes. All right. Did you put the 3 on top or no?
I did not. I put the 4 Snowface Princess, um, coming for, must have been a private sale from Fletcher's ownership group to Winchell, Ron Winchell, who owns Kentucky Downs.
Mm.
I think he wants to have a win here at his track. So I think this horse is extremely live here. And I thought Snowface Princess is one you got to take a really hard look at here. Irad
So,
riding for Asmussen, so they're keeping, Irad rode this horse 2 back, and you don't see Irad and Asmussen team up very often.
yeah. Man. I put Lena Lou on top, Oldie. I just think is probably versus this group she can run away with it. She comes back from Ascot. Bianco ran her there. She ran third, right?
Yeah,
68 in a grade 2. So they go to 6.5. I think that could be a question, but at least she's on the turf. I mean, she's definitely gonna get the turf, and she's gonna have the speed. I mean, she's quick. I mean, the 9 gonna be out there. That's the other, on an E morning line, 5-2 oldie, and so that was the horse I spent a lot of time looking at with ZZ's because she has this turf sprint GSR, and then on the dirt she has some GSR angles too, and from that post. So I thought the picks had this race. I was three
Hmm.
nine for um oldie, but
I was
yeah,
439. So we agree just in different order there. I didn't think there was much else in this race.
yeah, I agree. I think that the picks they to me look strong here. So you're 4-3-9, and I am 3-9-4. That's the 10th at the Downs, the Untappable Stakes oldie Sunday. They had two. We got one more. And thanks everybody for watching. We got Laurel Park to close this out, oldie. Race number 8. It's a small group, but there's going to be
Yep.
a big favorite. Let's watch the race then.
Another friend of the stretch run.
Yes, I agree, oldie. When I saw this, the 3-horse gonna have big pace there, but I think there's a lot of speed in
Yeah.
this race with that 5-horse.
And is this horse really common because the jockey's listed as undefined?
Oh, yeah, probably not. Whoops, sorry. Well, we'll finish watching the race then. I mean, post time kind of runs by them, but to your point, if that is undefined, that horse may not show. So we have this really small group. I'm not sure it matters. Light the way, nice horse. I don't think that horse just gets loose though, oldie, in my opinion. But either way, what do you think?
Yeah, so I just thought this race is about post time.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, there's just loves Laurel.
yeah,
Um, Not much here. Only way it doesn't happen is if one of these horses gets away on the front end and is better than we think in doing so. It's not just has to get away. Um, I just it looks tough for any of those to me. I think post time wins this race. I love the cutback um, to 8 furlongs here as well because I thought 9 was probably too long.
yeah. I always like the GSR here. I mean, they've all run well at 8, so but yeah, after 3, but post time just a nice horse. Well, I mean, 168, 72
Yeah.
didn't win graded stakes, but not even winning in stakes. Hasn't got a graded stakes win yet, but has run really well in a grade 1, a grade 2, and a grade 3. I mean, those
Well,
were
but did
80s.
did win the grade 2 Carter in 2024 and the grade
Yeah,
3.
yeah,
So the it just seems better, and it didn't embarrass himself in the blame or the Whitney there either. I mean, this horse just you know somebody would have to run the best race of their career to beat this horse.
yeah. I agree, and I think I wouldn't give up on the 2 churns, and that's why I think Brittany hasn't, oldie. But I think it needs to be in the right company. I mean,
Yeah,
so you look at all the great, these were 1 churn sprints, which I think is amazing. So, ultimately, Brittany Sheldon, I mean, they've been finding the perfect spot. They added blinkers in those 2 churn efforts, right? I mean, all 4 of these, they
yeah.
added blinkers. Here she leaves them on. So, they're definitely in the but I do think this horse can still run 2 churns, but maybe not quite in grade 1. I mean, it ran really good in that grade 3 off the pace, right at Churchill. So, but I agree. I think post time tough, Oli.
Okay, I agree.
Belmont's football picks. Well, we're done with horse racing picks. Um,
I'm going to say
man.
my fantasy team. That's my football pick for this week.
So as we close it down, and thanks everybody for always listening in. That was good, Oldie. 90 minutes got through those. I've spent so much time on fantasy the last like couple weeks. I haven't even really
Yeah.
looked at anything for this weekend. I don't know. I think it's probably kind of. I mean, Philadelphia, I think wins tomorrow, in my opinion. I mean, I've spent a little bit of time there. The first game, I feel first games a lot of times can be funky, Oldie, because and now most of these guys haven't been playing. I mean, they've been working out and everything, but they don't play preseason, right? So, I don't know. I feel like it's to me, it's just picking games. I think player props are risky in week
Yeah.
one for me, but yeah.
Also, defenses tend to be ahead of offenses. So the under has done very well week one. I just saw a stat. I don't have it in front of me, but the under has a significant winning record over the over in week one the last 5 years. So um, keep that in mind. The other thing that I'll give you the official Chicago answer, which is the Bears.
Hey, I'm rooting for Rome and Chicago. Like, I hope Caleb and Rome can figure it out and DJ Moore steps up and but all right.
Oh, we lost Justin there. He hit the eject button, so he's got to pull that parachute. But uh,
That was
I was
super
just saying,
strange.
you hit the eject button.
I don't know what happened. That was super strange. It must have been how I slid. So I'll let you close this down, Oldie.
Yeah.
Sorry.
All right. Thank you, everybody. We want to see you on the stretch run this weekend, Saturday, time TBD. But Justin and I, and maybe a few surprises along the way, we'll see. Thank you, everybody. Yes, Rex, we're actually just finishing up, and then it won't be live, and we'll get the replay up as soon as YouTube allows it. So
Yeah,
thank
we
you.
just finished, Rex. Thank you. Go
But
ahead.
good night, everybody. Good luck. Go Bears. Go Cubs. Go Mariners.
Yes, sir. All right. I'll see you soon.